7. This has been the case for the past few years. Now I know pixel density isn't a big deal for most people, but if you do look up close, you're going to notice a difference for sure, especially if you're going to be using things like VR. Now the S7 is also slightly heavier, 14 grams, and we've got differences in build as well. The S7 has a metal frame with Gorilla Glass panels on the front and back, and the back is actually curved, so this actually makes it a little bit easier to hold in the hand. The iPhone 7 on the other hand has a very similar design to last year, so the iPhone 6 and 6S. I personally did want to see a bit more of a refresh. This time around we have the antenna bands redesigned, so they are not running across the back as they were last year, but relatively speaking it is a similar design. We also have two new colors this time. We have a sort of matte black as well as a jet black. One great thing this year is that both are water and dust resistant. So the iPhone 7 is IP67 water and dust resistant. The Samsung Galaxy S7 is IP68, so it's got a slightly higher rating, so you're going to be able to take it a little bit deeper for a little bit longer in water. I'm not sure exactly how much of a difference it's going to make to day-to-day usage, but it's great to see that both are water and dust resistant. Now looking inside both of these, what's powering them? Well, on the S7 we have either the Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 or the Exynos version, depending on which market you're from. On the iPhone 7 we have Apple's A10 Fusion chip. Now this has quad cores this time, so you've got two cores which are not as powerful, and you've got two more powerful cores. This is supposed to save battery depending on what applications that you're using. In terms of RAM, we have 4GB on the S7. We're not sure exactly what RAM we have on the iPhone 7. I believe it's 2GB, but this has not been confirmed by Apple. Now in terms of performance, we are going to have to test these side by side. You have to remember that the iPhone 7 is not pushing out anywhere near the number of pixels that the S7 is, so this is definitely going to have an impact on performance, and loads of these other things in terms of software optimization and things do go into it, so these will all come into play. And the iPhone 6S was pretty fast, especially in terms of reopening apps when I did do my test last year, so that is something to bear in mind. Now, in terms of storage, the S7 has 32GB as a base model, and you do have a micro SD card slot, so you can expand that storage. On the iPhone 7 they have finally got rid of 16GB. I'm so glad that this has happened. If it hadn't happened, I would have not bought the iPhone 7, because that would have been a big disappointment in this year. But we do have 32GB as a base, and then you also have a 128GB model as well as a 256GB model. Now you're going to have to pay extra for those additional storage options on the iPhone 7. On the S7 the advantage here is that you won't have to spend as much, because you can just pick out a micro SD card. And if you do go for the base model of the iPhone 7, you're going to be stuck with that, and if you do need more storage, there's not really much you can do, whereas on the S7 you can just go ahead and expand that. So the advantage of storage I would give to the S7. Now let's look at the cameras. This year it's going to be more of a competition than ever. The S7 has a 12 megapixel rear facing camera with an f1.7 aperture and optical image stabilization. Now this has been one of the best cameras of 2016, hands down. The same one that's used in the S7 Edge as well as the Note 7. It's been praised everywhere. It produces some great quality images. The iPhone 7 has 12 megapixels as well with optical image stabilization this time. This is something we didn't have last year, and an f1.8 aperture. So very similar here in terms of the specs. It's going to be very interesting to see what the differences are, and if you want to see a camera comparison between these two, then do hit that thumbs up button to let me know, and make sure you are subscribed to see that super fast style. Now the S7 does have dual pixel autofocus. Now this is the fastest that I've seen on any smartphone, so we'll have to test out the autofocus speed, because you still only have the standard autofocus that we had last year on the iPhone 7. However, you do have a quad LED flash. The True Tone flash has been updated and is much brighter than last year. So if you are somebody who uses the flash on the smartphone, then the iPhone 7 should be beneficial. Now in terms of video, both of these do film up to 4K, which is great.